This meeting is now being recorded.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tona Leiker, and I'm sharing with you the results of my doctoral dissertation work, Cultural Characteristics of a Nursing Education Center of Excellence, a Naturalistic Inquiry Case Study. The study was partially funded by the National League for Nursing Education Foundation Dissertation Grant and Sigma Theta Tau International Epsilon Gamma At-Large Chapter Research Grant. The research problem. Nursing literature has been silent on the culture of nursing programs. This has been studied much in business and in other industries, but we tend not to talk about the culture of nursing programs. Where we're interested in understanding, does creating healthy work environments and high-performance organizations impact the work environment? We've seen this much in the scholarly literature. We also know that there's a growing shortage of nursing faculty with an aging workforce. Nursing also is overwhelmed with overload in nursing faculty workloads, sometimes caused by a shortage of nursing faculty and sometimes simply by the workload that is demanded of the employer, and low average nursing salaries in comparison to our practice peers. The purpose of this research study. The purpose was to identify the defining culture characteristics of an NLN Center of Excellence in Nursing Education School. It was to discover and to define factors which existed in one high-performing nursing program to support conceptual clarification of what is excellence in nursing education, and to identify any potentially new factors that create exceptional educational cultures. There were multiple key terms used in this study, but three were very important: the definition of culture, nursing programs, and high performance. Culture was defined as the way we do things around here. Nursing programs was a pre-licensure nursing program that also had included several other components to it. So this particular nursing program, not only was it pre-licensure, it included an RN to BSN program and a master's program with early preparation for doctoral study. High performance. High performance was defined using the definition included in the quality metrics of the Beacon studies. The review of the literature. There were three major areas of the literature review. Culture as a key to understanding high-performance organizations. Transforming nursing education, cultural influences. This was primarily the work of the NLN. And ANCC's work on magnet designation outcomes research for high-performance clinical organizations in nursing practice. The research question. There was one primary research question and three secondary questions. The primary question was, what important factors constitute the culture of a nursing program previously determined to be a high-performing environment? The secondary questions then included what, if any, are the human, material, or other elements or pillars that distinguish this organization? Second, what, if any, distractors challenge or impede the culture regardless of the high performance? And third, what, if any, are related outcomes that this high-performing organization experience, such as faculty recruitment and retention or student satisfaction? The methodology for this study was a case study design where the study population was a single school. The case study selection that occurred was to look at the NLN Centers of Excellence and to select one school. There were several criteria that were used in determining which school would be selected. These criteria included things such as leadership stability, the size of the program, number of nursing faculty, NCLEX RN examination results, recent or current accreditation activities. Data collection. The case study school setting was selected. The researcher was the instrument. There was no specific individual data collection tool, although there was an instrument that guided the questions that the researcher used. This was a field experience. The immersion experience. This qualitative naturalistic case study dissertation included 6 immersion visits. The first was titled Finding My Way at the Nursing Program. It included 3 days. During this time, it truly was finding my way at the nursing program. As a researcher, I knew nothing about this nursing program when I began the study. The second was general and event observation at the nursing program. 3 days were spent attending events and making general observations at the nursing program. Observations were made in classrooms, hallways, meetings, and events, such as a Sigma Theta Tau induction ceremony. The third immersion visit was an extended period of time where it came to be known as Knowing My Way at the Nursing Program. This was a 12-day period of time where, again, observations were met and then participating in meetings and in actual classroom observations. The fourth immersion visit was actually a visit to the National League for Nursing, where the studies of other schools who had received the NLN Center of Excellence were read. The fifth visit was being a part and leading the field, the nursing program. During this time, interviews were held with individual faculty, leadership, key members of the nursing program, and students at every level of this nursing program. The sixth visit was being a part and leading the NLN. Again, 2 additional days were spent reading NLN Center of Excellence final submission reports and visiting with the staff. The total immersion time was 34 days. As a result, there was 78 hours of observation, 31 participant interviews. There were 26 individual interviews, 5 interviews that were groups that were included students, and there was a total of 44 participants. There was over 60 artifacts that were gathered and obtained during this study. Data analysis occurred by coding the data. It began as an iterative process that began with the first visit through journaling and keeping of notes. All interviews were recorded, coded, and then the iterative process began. The iterative process took approximately 7 iterations during this extended analysis period of time. Codes and categories were identified. It was important to establish quality in this study and to always maintain and understand ethical considerations with each interview, each observation, every step of the way. Study limitations occur with all studies. The limitation to this study was that it included a single researcher and a single case study school. The case study school results. Again, back to the primary research question. What important factors constitute a culture of a nursing program previously determined to be a high-performing environment? As a result, there was one overarching metaphor with 3 themes and 12 patterns. These will be discussed. The overarching metaphor was the right fit, harmonious alignment. I came to this overarching metaphor as it was something that was discussed by the students, the faculty, and staff in their interviews. It was things that the students talked about being, it was the right nursing program, it was the right institution, it was the right fit for me. Sometimes the students talked about, I had been at another program, It just didn't feel right. But when I came here, I knew it was right. Other times faculty talked about it being the right fit. Or when they made selections of faculty, they were looking for that right fit. The first thing was a firm foundation. A firm foundation, as you all note, is of bricks and mortar. But there's still a gap in the middle. That is because the institution and the nursing program are not exactly the same. But it's definitely built upon a firm foundation where the heritage of the school and the university are aligned with the mission values of the organization, those of the institution, and the mission and values of nursing, and how they come together to create a firm foundation for this nursing program. The second theme was nursing program transparency. Transparency is meant to be like a balance beam. It is light blue and transparent. And there were three codes that were underneath that built this transparency. The first was trust, the second respect, and the third was integrity. Not one is greater than the other. They are all equal. But if one is broken, it is very difficult to fix and to mend. And if there's a lack of balance in those, then it becomes difficult to keep the program in that right fit. The third theme is a vibrant academic nursing community. In this wheel, you will note that it's the primary and secondary colors of the color wheel. And when you put those all together, what you find in a vibrant academic nursing community is a student-centered nursing program. Student-centered in the middle is gray because when you put all the colors of the color wheel together, the color that you get is gray. Each of these 6 components within the color wheel represent a major pattern that was noted as a result of coding the theme, the interviews, and reviewing the artifacts and documents. And again was also confirmed by the observations made during this extended immersion experience. So, for example, there was empowering leadership at every level of the organization. The students felt empowered in their leadership activities. There were sound management processes. The sound management processes were not rigid, but they were solid. They were there to guide the program, yet they were flexible as they needed to be. An example was when the nursing students asked about could they change their uniforms in a student meeting. The faculty said, yes, you can. There's a process. When I went to look and see exactly what the students had been told and the faculty said was in the student handbook. Students can change their uniforms if they wish. Once the students knew that they had that power, it wasn't discussed again. There was a rich community of learning. In this community of learning, it seemed that everything that the students were doing and the faculty were doing was always about growing and enhancing what they knew. But there also was embedded in this advocacy for diversity. And the advocacy for diversity is not something that is very traditional in the sense of what we might think of gender diversity or ethnicity diversity, but a diversity of advocacy for types of education, levels of education, degrees that are sought, nursing experiences that people bring forward, how that's appreciated within the classroom, and how that then creates this unique community of learning. The last 2 areas were the strong internal and external partnerships that support the school, both within the university and in the community, and also then how that builds professional role socialization, not only for the students, but the novice faculty, as well as the leaders within the nursing program. There were rich examples in each of those areas. For example, In professional role socialization, the novice faculty were often encouraged to take on leadership roles in the committee. When they were encouraged to take on the leadership roles in the committee, the seasoned or senior or tenured faculty would often sit beside them in a committee meeting, and they might be serving as a co-chair or a chair of a committee. The senior faculty would guide them, talk with them about the way that things were done, would help them and mentor them through the committee meetings. And they would often say, "I'm not certain that I know exactly what I should be doing." The seasoned faculty would guide them, gently support them, meet with them before meetings or after meetings. And they often said, "The reason we're doing this is because we're already tenured. We need you to be tenured, and we want to teach you, and we want to support you in your tenure journey." So they were guiding them and helping them grow to be full in their participation as a faculty member. You saw that same kind of guidance occurring with the students from their very first course until their senior course, the last course that they participated in. So when you put it all together, you have the defining cultural characteristics of a high-performing school of nursing, the right fit, harmonious alignment, a firm foundation with a balanced beam of transparency around trust, respect, and integrity, with a color wheel on top that is student-centered, that creates this vibrant academic learning environment. The secondary research questions again. We're looking to see, was there anything else that distinguished the organization? Were there distractors that challenged or impede the organization? And were there any related outcomes? The one thing that I would say that I probably noted the most in this part of the study were the related outcomes of this high-performing organization. One example that I would share is that this organization had no faculty openings. They had a very low turnover, and they worked very hard again at getting that right fit of the faculty member who came to their organization. Faculty who often came, stayed for long periods of time. They admitted that there were times when people might come and not stay, but it was related to, was it really a fit for that person? In addition, when we looked at what they had done, they recently had completed a curricular revision. And the faculty were a little bit tense about that revision. But in the end, their NCLEX RN board results resulted in a 100% pass rate. I think those are some related outcomes to this particular organization. If we talked about distractors, I think that every organization always has challenges in their organization. Numbers of faculty, numbers of students, funding, and it's learning how to figure that out. But what I found is that one pillar that distinguished this organization and what they shared with me was that as they got better and they continued to strive to be the best that they could be, the tighter they got to their mission and values of university and their organization, and how they recognized people, and how they made decisions about their nursing curricula, and even how they sought grants or external funding. Everything went back to that firm foundation. So in the end, what does this mean for nursing education? Understanding the cultural characteristics of a high-performing nursing organization may help us to address the current and impending nursing education crisis. If we can help to transform nursing education by understanding cultural influences to create high-performing organizations, we may be able to reduce the turnover that we have in faculty and increase the retention of new faculty who try nursing education but then return to practice when they find that the role is just too difficult and it's just too much of a transition. Recommendations for this study. There are many implications for future research, implications to replicate the study, to do further research, implications for nursing programs, to consider what does this mean for them. There's a possibility that understanding the culture of an organization may help to solve the nursing faculty shortage. It provides the opportunity to create academic leadership development opportunities, as this program was rich with opportunities for leadership development and how they built and then retained their nursing faculty. And of course, there's many opportunities to begin dialogue at the local, regional, and national level on faculty policies to help retain and grow additional nursing faculty in the United States. I would like to thank my dissertation committee, my case study school, and the NLN for their guidance in this dissertation work. And here is my contact information if you have any additional questions. Thank you.